My father-in-law left me a cryptic note in his will, and when I discovered what it meant, I realized my husband had been lying to me the whole time. The note was tucked inside an envelope with my name on it, separate from the official documents. Ivy, it read, "The cabin on Route 47 is yours. Check the floorboards in the northwest bedroom. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you while I was alive. Forgive my son if you can." My husband Dominic acted strange when the lawyer handed me the envelope. His jaw tightened. He suggested we sell the cabin immediately, split the money. I'd never even heard of this property before. We drove out there 2 days after the funeral. The cabin was deep in the woods, 40 minutes from the nearest town, paint peeling, porch sagging, clearly abandoned for years. Dominic kept checking his phone, saying we should leave before dark. I found the northwest bedroom upstairs. The floorboards were warped and loose. I pried one up with a crowbar from the shed. Underneath was a metal lockbox, rusted but intact. Inside were letters, dozens of them, all addressed to me, all from my father-in-law, all dating back 7 years, starting right after Dominic and I got married. The first letter explained everything. My father-in-law had hired a private investigator 3 months into our marriage because something felt off. The investigator found Dominic's other life, another wife, another family, in Vermont. He'd been married to her for 9 years. They had 2 children. I sat on that dusty floor reading letter after letter. My father-in-law had discovered that Dominic was living 2 complete lives. He worked remotely, traveled constantly between the 2 families, told each of us he was on business trips. His father had confronted him. Dominic had begged, threatened, promised to end it, but he never did. The letters detailed everything: names, addresses, school records, photos of Dominic at his daughter's soccer games, at his son's birthday party, at their family Christmas dinners. All while I thought he was at conferences. My father-in-law had been documenting it all, gathering evidence, but couldn't bring himself to destroy his son's life or mine. Each letter ended the same way. "I want to tell you, Ivy, you deserve to know, but I'm a coward. Please forgive me." The last letter was dated 3 weeks before he died. "I'm leaving you the cabin and these letters. Do what you need to do. The deed is in your name only. My lawyer has copies of everything in a sealed file. It will be released to you upon my death. I've also left you money in a separate account, enough to start over. I couldn't save you while I was alive, but maybe I can now." I heard Dominic's footsteps on the stairs. He appeared in the doorway, saw the letters spread around me, and went pale. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then he started with the excuses, the explanations. It wasn't what it looked like. He was going to tell me. He loved me. It was complicated. I asked him one question. How old are they? His silence told me everything. I grabbed my phone and found her on social media in under 5 minutes. Beautiful. Smiling. Her latest post showed Dominic at their dinner table from last weekend. The weekend he told me he was in Baltimore for work. I stood up, letters in hand, walked past him down the stairs. He followed, saying my name over and over. I got in my car, locked the doors. Through the window, I told him I wanted a divorce. He banged on the glass, desperate now, promising anything. I started the engine. That's when his phone rang. He answered automatically, his face changing as he listened. He looked at me through the window, terror in his eyes, and said into the phone, "She knows. Mom found the letters. We need to talk. Now." I froze. Mom. He'd just called someone mom. His mother had been dead for 12 years. The car was running, but I couldn't move, couldn't process what I'd just heard. Dominic stood there in front of the cabin, phone pressed to his ear, watching me watch him. The color had drained from his face completely. He looked like he might vomit. I rolled down the window. Who was that? My voice came out flat. Dead. He lowered the phone slowly, opened his mouth, closed it. Dominic, who did you just call mom? He swallowed hard. I can explain. You've been saying that for the last 10 minutes. Start explaining. Not here. Please. Let's go home and I'll tell you everything. I laughed. Actually laughed. The sound felt foreign in my throat. Home? Which one, Dominic? Ours? Or the one in Vermont with your other wife and kids? Or maybe there's a third one I don't know about yet. There's no third family, I swear. You swear. Your word means nothing to me now. He took a step toward the car. I hit the lock button again, even though the doors were already locked. Who is she? I asked. The woman you just called mom. Silence. Answer me, or I'm driving away right now and you'll never see me again. My mother, he whispered. Your mother is dead. I went to her funeral. I cried at her funeral. That wasn't her. The world tilted sideways. What? The woman we buried 12 years ago. That wasn't my mother. I stared at him through the windshield. He looked small suddenly. Pathetic. Explain. Right now. Or I'm gone. He glanced at his phone, then back at me. My mother didn't die. She faked her death and went into hiding. Why would anyone do that? Because of my father. The pieces weren't fitting together. Nothing made sense. Your father just died. He left me letters exposing your double life. He was trying to help me. My father was a monster. Dominic's voice cracked. You didn't know him. Not really. None of this makes sense unless you understand what he was. Then make me understand. He looked behind him at the cabin, at the woods surrounding us, like he was checking to see if anyone was watching. Not here. Please, this isn't safe. Safe from what? From him? From what he set in motion? He's dead, Dominic. Is he? I felt cold despite the warm evening air. What are you talking about? Get out of the car. Come inside. I'll tell you everything. But we need to be inside, away from cameras. What cameras? He gestured vaguely at the trees. He had this whole property monitored, security system he installed years ago. If we're having this conversation, it needs to be somewhere he can't hear us. He's dead. His people aren't. I sat there trying to decide if this was another manipulation, another lie in a web of lies. But something in his voice sounded different. Real fear. Fine, I said. But I'm taking the letters. And if you try anything, I'm calling the police. I'm not going to hurt you, Ivy. I've never hurt you. You married someone else while you were married to me. You have children you never told me about. You've been lying to me for 7 years. That's hurt, Dominic. He flinched, nodded. You're right, I know. Just please, come inside. I grabbed the letters, my phone, my keys, got out of the car. He kept his distance, hands visible, like I was a wild animal he was afraid of spooking. We walked into the cabin together. It smelled like mold and decay. The furniture was covered in dust sheets. He led me to what looked like a living room and pulled 2 sheets off chairs. Sit, he said. Please. I sat. He paced, ran his hands through his hair. I'd seen him do that gesture 1,000 times. Now it looked foreign. My father, he started, then stopped. My father wasn't a good man. He presented himself as this successful businessman, pillar of the community, but behind closed doors he was running something else, something illegal. What kind of illegal? Money laundering, identity theft. He had connections to organized crime. I didn't know the full extent when I was younger, just knew that sometimes dangerous-looking men would come to the house, that Mom was always nervous, that we moved around a lot. I waited. When I was 17, I figured out what he was doing, found documents he'd hidden, bank records, passports with our photos but different names. I confronted him. Dominic's hands were shaking now. He told me I had 2 choices, join the family business or disappear. He said it casually, like he was asking me what I wanted for dinner, but I saw his eyes. He meant it. People who crossed him disappeared. So you joined him? No, I ran. Went to college across the country. Changed my major 3 times so he couldn't track what I was doing. Started using my middle name instead of my first. Met someone, fell in love, got married. The woman in Vermont. He nodded. Carolyn. We got married when I was 23. She got pregnant right away. Twin girls. I was happy. For the first time in my life, I felt normal. What happened? He found me. I don't know how. But one day he just showed up at our apartment, smiling, like nothing was wrong. Said he was proud of me. Said he wanted to meet his grandchildren. And I believed him. Dominic sat down heavily in the chair across from me. He started coming around regularly, bringing gifts, playing with the girls. Carolyn loved him. Thought I'd been exaggerating how bad he was. Then one night, he asked me for a favor. Just a small thing. Deliver a package to someone. I knew what it was. Knew I shouldn't. But he had photos of my daughters. Of Carolyn. He didn't threaten them outright. Didn't need to. The implication was clear. So you delivered the package. Yes. And then another. And another. Until I was back in it. Working for him. Laundering money through legitimate businesses he'd set up. I tried to get out. Tried to run again. But he always found me. I felt sick. Then I met you, he said quietly. At that conference in Denver. You were speaking about nonprofit fundraising. You were so passionate. So honest. I fell for you immediately. And I thought, this is my chance. New identity. New life. If I can keep you separate from everything else, maybe I can finally be free. So you married me without telling me you were already married. I know. I know how wrong that is. But in my head, I was compartmentalizing. Carolyn was my old life. The life my father forced on me. You were my real life. My escape. That's insane, Dominic. I know. You destroyed 2 families with your lies. I know. Silence stretched between us. What about your mother? I asked. Where does she fit into this? Mom tried to protect me. Tried to protect all of us. But he had total control. He monitored everything. Her phone, her email, her bank accounts. She was a prisoner in her own life, so she faked her death. Yes, she had help from someone he'd wronged, someone who wanted to see him suffer. They staged a car accident, made it look real, closed casket funeral. Dental records were switched. She'd been planning it for years. And he believed it? He had to. The evidence was perfect. Plus, I think part of him wanted to believe it. Easier to have her gone than to keep controlling her. Where has she been all these years? Mexico. Small village where no one knows her. She changes her appearance, uses different names. She's been free. But she calls you, rarely, maybe twice a year, uses burner phones, never from the same location twice, just to make sure I'm alive. Does she know about me? About Carolyn? He looked away. She knows about both of you. Perfect. She tried to warn me, told me this would blow up eventually, that I couldn't live 2 lives forever, but I thought I could manage it. Thought I was smarter than him, than your father. Yes. I looked at the letters scattered on the floor where I'd dropped them. These letters. Your father documented everything about your double life. Why would he do that if he was the one forcing you into this position? Dominic's face went dark. Because he was done with me. I'd become a liability. Too unpredictable. Too emotional. He wanted me out of the business but couldn't just let me go. So he decided to destroy me instead. By exposing you to me. And to Carolyn. I'm sure she has letters too. Or will soon. He wanted both my marriages to implode. Wanted me isolated. Desperate. And then he'd offer me one last job. One that would either set me up for life or put me in prison. What job? I don't know. He died before he could tell me. I stood up. Started pacing. This is insane. All of it. And you expect me to believe you? After everything? I can prove it. How? He pulled out his phone. Opened his photo gallery. Showed me pictures I'd never seen before. Him as a teenager with a woman who looked like an older, more tired version of the woman in his mother's funeral photo. Documents with different names. Screenshots of threatening messages from unknown numbers. My father kept records of everything, he said. Blackmail material. In case any of us tried to leave. I stole copies years ago. Kept them as insurance. I looked through the photos. Some of them showed Dominic at maybe 16 or 17. Different hair, different build, but unmistakably him. In one photo, he was standing next to a man I recognized. The man we'd buried 2 weeks ago. Except in this photo, that man looked different. Harder. He was gripping Dominic's shoulder tight enough that you could see the white pressure points under his fingers. When was this taken? 3 days before I ran away the first time. He was warning me, reminding me who was in charge. I sat back down. My brain felt like it was short-circuiting. Why should I believe any of this? I asked. You've lied about everything else. Because I'm telling you to leave, to take the money he left you and disappear. Change your name. Start over somewhere far from here. From me. From all of this. Why would you want that? Because he had a contingency plan. He always did. And whatever it is, it's already in motion. Those letters weren't just about exposing my double life. They were about drawing you in, making you part of this. Part of what? I don't know yet. But you need to leave. Tonight. I looked at him. Really looked at him. His hands were still shaking. His eyes were red. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. What about Carolyn? I asked. Your other wife. She's already gone. Took the kids and left 3 days ago. Her sister called me yesterday. Said Carolyn got a letter too. Different content but same handwriting. Same instructions. She's scared out of her mind. What did her letter say? I don't know. Her sister wouldn't tell me. But whatever it was bad enough that she packed up and disappeared within hours. I felt my phone buzz in my pocket. Pulled it out. Unknown number. The text message was simple. Check your bank account. I opened my banking app with shaking hands. The screen loaded slowly. My savings account showed a deposit from earlier today. $2 million. I stared at the number. What is this? I showed Dominic the screen. He went pale. He did it. He actually did it. Did what? The contingency. The money. He's making you wealthy enough that you become a target. A target for who? For everyone he owed. Everyone he screwed over. They'll think you have access to all his accounts. All his secrets. They'll come looking. I don't have anything. They don't know that. My phone buzzed again. Another text from the same number. Tell Dominic his mother says hello. Tell him we'll be in touch. Ice ran through my veins. They have your mother? Dominic grabbed the phone from my hands. Read the message. His face crumpled. No. No. She was safe. She was supposed to be safe. Who are they? I don't know. Could be anyone. He had enemies everywhere. He was pacing now. Frantic. We need to go. Both of us. Right now. Leave everything. Just drive. I'm not going anywhere with you. Ivy, please. I know you hate me. You have every right to. But if we don't leave right now, we're both dead. You're being dramatic. Am I? My father faked evidence about my double life for 7 years, kept meticulous records, left you millions of dollars, and now someone has my mother and is sending you threatening messages. Does that sound like I'm exaggerating? I wanted to argue, wanted to tell him he was crazy, but my hands were shaking too. What do? There's a car in the shed behind the cabin. Keys are under the seat. It's registered to a name you've never heard. Untraceable. We take it and drive to the Canadian border. Cross over. Find somewhere remote. Figure out what he was planning. This is insane. I know. I don't trust you. I know that too. If you try anything, I swear to God, I won't. I promise. I just need you to live through this. Then you can divorce me, testify against me, whatever you want. But first, we need to survive. I stood up, grabbed the letters, shoved them in my bag. Show me the car. We went out through the back door. The shed was overgrown with vines. Inside was a dusty Toyota, maybe 15 years old, completely unremarkable. Dominic found the keys, started the engine. It coughed to life. Get in. I climbed into the passenger seat. My mind was spinning. This morning I'd woken up thinking my biggest problem was mourning my father-in-law. Now I was fleeing for my life with a husband who'd been lying to me for years. We drove through back roads I didn't recognize. Dominic kept checking the rearview mirror. His knuckles were white on the steering wheel. Tell me about your father, I said after 20 minutes of silence. Tell me everything. If we're doing this, I need to know what I'm running from. He took a deep breath. His name wasn't actually Raymond. That was one of his aliases. His real name was Dmitry Volkov, born in Russia. Came to the US in the 70s. Started small, credit card fraud. Identity theft, worked his way up. How did your mother meet him? She was a bank teller. He charmed her, married her within 3 months. She didn't know what he was until I was born, and they were already trapped. Trapped how? He had dirt on everyone, photos, recordings. He'd set people up in compromising situations and then blackmail them. My mother tried to leave once when I was 5. He showed her a video of her cousin. Said if she left, the cousin would die. She stayed. How many people did he kill? I don't know. He never admitted to anything directly, but people who crossed him had a habit of disappearing. We drove for another hour. My phone rang. Unknown number again. Don't answer it, Dominic said. I answered it. Hello? Mrs. Thorne, or should I say Mrs. Castellano? I understand you're a woman of many names now. The voice was male, accented, Russian maybe. Who is this? A friend of your late father-in-law. He owed me money, quite a lot of money. And before he died, he assured me that you would be happy to settle his debts. I don't have access to his accounts. But you have access to $2 million he so generously deposited in your account today. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't play stupid. It's insulting. We know exactly what he left you. We know where you are. We know everything. What do you want? The $2 million is a start. But Raymond, excuse me, Dmitry, owed me $15 million. I expect the remaining $13 million within the week. I don't have $13 million. Then I suggest you find it. Dmitry was kind enough to leave you breadcrumbs, accounts, properties, hidden assets. You just need to look. And if I can't find them, then we'll take payment another way. Your husband, for instance, has been quite useful to us over the years. Perhaps he can work off the debt. He doesn't work for you. The man laughed. Oh, sweetheart. He's been working for me for the past 3 years. Did he not mention that? I looked at Dominic. He was staring straight ahead, jaw clenched. You're lying. Ask him about Prague, about the shipment he picked up last November, about the accounts he helped me set up in the Cayman Islands. I ended the call. Prague? I said quietly. Dominic didn't answer. Dominic, Prague, last November. You said you were at a conference. I was. Were you picking up a shipment for the Russian mob? He was silent for a long moment. Yes. I unbuckled my seatbelt. Pull over. Ivy, pull over right now, or I'm jumping out of this moving car. He pulled onto the shoulder. I got out, started walking. He followed. Please let me explain. Explain what? That you've been working for criminals? That everything you've told me tonight is just another layer of lies? I didn't have a choice. There's always a choice. Not when they have your family, not when they threaten your daughters. I spun around. So you chose them over me, over us. I chose all of you. I was trying to protect everyone. By getting deeper into crime, by working with the exact people your father was working with. My father died owing these people money. They came to me, said I could either help them or they'd make Carolyn and the girls disappear. What was I supposed to do? Not marry me while you were doing it. My voice echoed across the empty road. You're right, he said quietly. You're absolutely right. I should have stayed away from you. Should have let you live your life without any of this. But I was selfish. I wanted something pure, something good. And you were both of those things. Don't try to make this romantic. You used me. No, I loved you. I still love you. You don't love me. You don't even know what love is. Love is honesty, trust. You've given me neither. A car appeared in the distance, headlights cutting through the dark. We need to move, Dominic said. We're too exposed here. I'm not going with you. Ivy, please. The car was getting closer. I'll take my chances on my own. They'll kill you, maybe, but at least I'll die knowing the truth instead of living in your lies. The car slowed as it approached. A black SUV, tinted windows. Dominic grabbed my arm. Get back in the car, now. The SUV pulled up beside us. The passenger window rolled down. The same accented voice from the phone call. Hello, Mrs. Thorne. What a coincidence meeting you here. A man stepped out, tall, broad, wearing an expensive suit that seemed wrong on a dark country road. We were just coming to find you, he said. Saved us the trouble. 2 more men got out of the back. They were younger, harder looking. Come with us, the first man said. We have much to discuss. She's not going anywhere with you, Dominic said. The man smiled. Dominic, always the hero. Your father would be disappointed. My father is dead. Is he? The same question Dominic had asked me hours ago. What do you mean? I asked. Your father-in-law was many things. Brilliant, ruthless, careful. Men like that don't die from simple heart attacks, especially when they have millions of dollars in debt and enemies on 3 continents. You think he faked his death. I think he's watching all of this play out from somewhere sunny and expensive, and I think he left you clues to find him, because Dmitri always had a soft spot for puzzles. One of the younger men grabbed my arm. His grip was tight, professional. Let her go, Dominic said. Or what? You'll fight all 3 of us? With what? That pocket knife you're reaching for? Dominic froze. That's what I thought. Now get in the car, both of you. We're going somewhere quieter to have this conversation. Run, Dominic said to me. Excuse me? The Russian man looked amused. Ivy, run, now. I didn't think, just reacted. Yanked my arm free and ran into the woods. Behind me, I heard shouts, footsteps, Dominic yelling, then a gunshot. I kept running. Branches whipped my face. Roots tried to trip me. My lungs burned, but I didn't stop. Another gunshot, closer. I could hear them crashing through the woods behind me, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. My phone was still in my pocket. I pulled it out while running. Dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? I'm being chased. Men with guns. I don't know where I am. Somewhere off Route 47, near an old cabin. A hand grabbed my hair, yanked me backward. I fell hard. The phone flew from my grip. One of the younger men stood over me, gun pointed at my face. Enough running, he said in heavily accented English. He dragged me back through the woods, back to the road. The Russian man was standing over Dominic. My husband was on the ground, blood spreading from his shoulder. You shot him, I said. He tried to run. This is what happens when people run. He needs a hospital. He needs to tell us where Dmitri is. I don't know, Dominic gasped. Blood was coming out of his mouth now. I swear I don't know. The Russian crouched down, pressed his thumb into the bullet wound. Dominic screamed. Stop, I yelled. Stop it! Then tell me what I want to know. Where did Dmitri hide the money? I don't know about any money. Liar. He pressed harder. Dominic was making sounds I'd never heard a human make. The cabin, I said. There might be something at the cabin. Documents, accounts, I don't know. But we can go back and look. The Russian stood up, studied me. You're smarter than your husband, I like that. Fine. We go back to the cabin, and you show me everything you found. If it's useful, your husband gets medical attention. If not, I shoot him again. Understood? I nodded. They hauled Dominic up. He could barely stand. They half-carried him to the SUV, threw him in the back. I climbed in beside him. You shouldn't have come back for me, he whispered. Shut up. I'm sorry. For everything. Save it. We drove back to the cabin. The whole trip took maybe 15 minutes, but felt like hours. Dominic was fading. His skin was gray. The blood wouldn't stop. At the cabin, they dragged us both inside. The Russian man turned on lights I hadn't known existed. The whole place lit up. It looked different in the harsh fluorescent glow. Clinical. Cold. Show me, he said to me. I led him upstairs. Showed him the loose floorboards. the empty space where the lockbox had been. I took the letters, I said. They're in my bag. In the car we were driving. What letters? From Dimitri to me, explaining about Dominic's double life. Show me. We went back outside. I retrieved my bag from the Toyota, handed him the letters. He read through them slowly. His expression never changed. These are worthless, he said finally. Just confessions. Drama. Where are the account numbers? The passwords? The real information? I don't know. That's all I found. Search the cabin, he told his men. Every wall, every floorboard, everything. They tore the place apart, ripped up more floorboards, punched holes in walls, shredded furniture. Nothing. An hour passed. Then 2. Dominic was unconscious now. His breathing was shallow. He's dying, I said. Please, let me call an ambulance. Not until I get what I came for. There's nothing here. The Russian grabbed my face, forced me to look at him. Dimitri left you $2 million. That's not a gift. That's a message. He wants you to find him, to bring him what he's owed. Where would he hide information that only you could find? I don't know. I barely knew the man. He was my father-in-law. We had dinner once a month. We talked about weather and sports. That's it. Think harder. I closed my eyes, tried to remember. Any conversation, any strange moment, anything that might be a clue. And then I remembered. 6 months ago, family dinner. Dimitri had pulled me aside while Dominic was in the bathroom. Ivy, he'd said, if anything ever happens to me, I want you to know something. You were always my favorite. The daughter I never had. And I'm sorry for what's coming. I'd thought it was just old man rambling. He was 73. People that age sometimes got maudlin. But then he'd handed me something. A small brass key. Keep this safe. Don't tell Dominic. When the time comes, you'll know where it goes. I'd put it in my jewelry box. Forgotten about it until this moment. The key, I said. What key? He gave me a key. Months ago. I thought it was just random, but maybe. Where is this key? At my house. Our house. In my jewelry box. The Russian smiled. Finally. Then we go to your house. Now. They loaded Dominic back into the SUV. He was barely breathing. I sat beside him, held his hand even though I hated him, even though he'd destroyed my life, because he was dying and nobody should die alone. We drove back to the city, to the house I'd shared with Dominic for 7 years. The house I'd thought was my home. The Russian sent one of his men in with me, told him to shoot me if I tried anything stupid. We went upstairs, to my bedroom. I opened my jewelry box. The key was right where I'd left it. Brass. Small. Old-fashioned looking. I brought it downstairs. The Russian took it, turned it over in his hands. What does it open? I don't know. Not helpful. He looked at Dominic, slumped in a chair now, barely conscious. Where would your father hide a safe deposit box? Dominic's eyes fluttered open. First National, downtown branch, under the name Howard Chen. How do you know that? Because I set it up for him, 10 years ago. The Russian laughed. See? He can be helpful when properly motivated. We go to the bank, first thing in the morning when they open. He'll be dead by morning, I said. Then we better hope there's something valuable in that deposit box. Otherwise, this whole night was a waste. They moved Dominic to a bedroom, put pressure bandages on his wound, gave him something for the pain. It wasn't enough, but it was better than nothing. I sat with him through the night. One of the Russians stood guard outside the door. Ivy? Dominic whispered around 4 a.m. What? The deposit box. There's something you need to know. Tell me in the morning. Might not make it to morning. His breathing was ragged, wet. The deposit box has account information, but it also has names. People my father worked with, people he blackmailed. If those names become public, a lot of powerful people go to prison. So some of those people will do anything to make sure that information stays hidden. The Russians aren't the only ones looking for it. There are others, worse than these guys. Worse how? Government, corporate, people with resources, with power. If they find out we have those names, they'll disappear us, make it look like an accident. Then we destroy the information, as soon as we get it. It's leverage, Ivy. The only thing keeping us alive. If we destroy it, we're worthless. They'll kill us just to tie up loose ends. So what do? We find my mother. She'll know what to do. She's been planning for this. For years. She has connections. Safe houses. New identities prepared. You think she's still alive? I have to believe she is. Morning came slowly. The Russian woke us at 7 a.m. Time to go. Bank opens at 9. We drove downtown. Dominic could barely walk. They supported him between them. Made it look like he was drunk. Just some friends helping their buddy get home after a long night. Inside the bank, I presented the key. Said I was Howard Chen's daughter. Needed to access his deposit box. The manager looked skeptical, but the key was real. The name was in the system. They led us to a private room, brought out the box. Inside were documents. Dozens of file folders, USB drives, and a letter. The letter was addressed to me. Dear Ivy, if you're reading this, I'm either dead or might as well be. I'm sorry for involving you in this mess. You deserved better. But you're also the only person I trust to do what needs to be done. The documents in this box contain evidence of crimes committed by 47 people. Senators, judges, CEOs, mob bosses, cartel leaders. Each one owes me money or favors or silence. Use this information wisely. The USB drives contain account information, 15 million in cryptocurrency, 5 million in gold certificates, another 10 million in art and artifacts stored in warehouses around the world. All of it legally yours now through various shell companies. Instructions for accessing everything are in the blue folder. But be warned. This information makes you dangerous, makes you a target. Trust no one, not even my son, especially not my son. He's weak. He always has been. I love him, but love doesn't erase truth. Protect yourself first. There's a woman named Natasha who can help you. Her number is in the red folder. She's been my insurance policy, my backup plan. Tell her the sparrow flies at midnight and she'll know it's really you. She can get you out of the country, give you a new life, or you can fight. Use this evidence to destroy everyone who hurt you. Hurt us. The choice is yours. I only ask one thing. If you see my son before the end, tell him I'm sorry I couldn't be the father he needed. Tell him I loved him the only way I knew how. Even if it wasn't enough. Goodbye, Ivy. You were the daughter I always wanted. Make me proud. Dmitry. I read the letter 3 times. The Russian was reading over my shoulder. 15 million in cryptocurrency, he said. That settles our debt. Access it now. I need the computer. The instructions. Do it. We spent the next 2 hours in that bank room transferring funds. The Russians watched every keystroke, made sure I sent exactly what they were owed. When it was done, the Russian smiled. Pleasure doing business with you. Your husband's debt is cleared. So we can go? I didn't say that. He pulled out a gun. Dominic lunged at him despite his wound. They crashed into the wall. The other Russians pulled out their own weapons. The bank alarm started screaming. People were shouting, running. In the chaos, I grabbed the folders, the USB drives, shoved everything into my bag, ran. Behind me, more gunshots. I didn't look back. Out of the bank, into the street. A taxi was stopped at a light. I yanked open the door, jumped in. Drive. Now. I'll pay you $1,000 cash to just drive. The driver looked at me like I was insane. I pulled out a $100 bill from my wallet, showed it to him. There's 9 more of these if you drive. Right now. He drove. I looked back through the rear window. Police cars were surrounding the bank. Ambulances, fire trucks. No sign of Dominic. No sign of the Russians. I called the number in the red folder. It rang 4 times before someone picked up. Yes? A woman's voice. Accented. European. The sparrow flies at midnight. Silence. Then, who gave you this phrase? Dmitry. He left me documents. Instructions. You're Ivy. Yes. Is Dmitry dead? I think so. I'm not sure anymore. Where are you? In a taxi. Leaving downtown. I just escaped the Russians. They might have killed Dominic. I don't know. Listen to me carefully. Go to Penn Station. Track 7. There's a homeless man who sells newspapers. Tell him you need the midnight edition. He'll take you somewhere safe. How do I know I can trust you? You can't. But Dmitry trusted me. And right now, I'm your only option. She hung up. The taxi driver was watching me in the rearview mirror. You in some kind of trouble, lady? The kind where it's better if you forget you ever saw me. I can do that. For another 100. I gave him another 100. At Penn Station, I found track 7. The homeless man with newspapers. He looked ancient, weathered, but his eyes were sharp. I need the midnight edition, I said. He studied me for a long moment, then nodded. Follow me. He led me through maintenance corridors, downstairs I didn't know existed, through tunnels that smelled like rust and decay. Finally, we emerged in what looked like an abandoned subway platform. A car was waiting, engine running. Get in, a voice said from inside. I recognized the voice. From the phone. Natasha was younger than I expected, maybe 40, beautiful in a severe way, sharp cheekbones, cold eyes. We don't have much time, she said as I climbed in. They'll be looking for you. Multiple agencies now. Local police, FBI, Interpol. Dmitry's death activated protocols. People are scrambling to cover their tracks. Is he really dead? Yes. I was there. Heart attack in his sleep. Natural causes. I verified the body myself. He planned all this. Of course he did. Dmitry planned everything. Who are you exactly? I was his lawyer, his fixer, his confidant, and occasionally, his conscience. Though he didn't listen to that last part very often. And my husband? Natasha's expression softened slightly. Dominic was pronounced dead at the bank, shot 3 times. I'm sorry. I should have felt something. Grief, relief, anger. Instead, I just felt numb. What happens now? Now you decide. Dmitry left you options. The accounts. The evidence. The resources to start over anywhere in the world. Or to wage war against everyone who used him. Used you. What did he want me to do? He wanted you to survive. Everything else is secondary. We drove for hours. Changed cars twice. Eventually arrived at a warehouse in New Jersey. Inside was an apartment. Fully furnished. Stocked with food. Cash. Documents. You can stay here as long as you need, Natasha said. No one knows about this place except me. And when they find me, they won't. I'm very good at my job. She handed me a passport. My photo. Different name. Amelia Davidson. Born in Toronto. Clean history. Perfect credit. She's ready for whatever life you want to give her. I looked at the passport. This stranger who wore my face. What about justice? For everything Dmitry did. Everything Dominic did. All the people they hurt. Justice is expensive. And often unsatisfying. But if you want it, the blue folder has everything you need. Names. Crimes. Evidence. You could destroy 47 powerful people with what's in that folder. Would it bring Dominic back? No. Would it undo the 7 years of lies? No. Then what's the point? Natasha smiled slightly. That's the question, isn't it? What's the point of any of this? Dmitry spent 40 years building an empire of secrets and lies. He died alone in a hospital bed. Dominic spent his whole life trying to escape his father's shadow and died the same way. Shot in a bank by criminals. Neither of them found peace. What did they find? Power, control, the illusion of safety, but never peace. I sat down on the couch, still holding the passport of the woman I could become. I don't know what to do. Then don't decide yet. Rest, process, grieve. The world will still be broken tomorrow. It can wait. Natasha left me there, alone in the warehouse apartment. I spent the next 3 days not moving, not sleeping, just existing. On the 4th day, I opened the blue folder, started reading. Senator Williams, took bribes from 3 foreign governments, had proof. Judge Martinez, fixed trials for the mob, had recordings. CEO Thompson, embezzled pension funds, had bank records. On and on. 47 names, 47 crimes, 47 lives I could destroy. One name jumped out at me. Detective Raymond Chen, covered up murders. Took payments from Dmitry to lose evidence. Chen, the same last name Dmitry had used for the safe deposit box. I called Natasha. The name Howard Chen, the deposit box. Was that a real person? Yes. Detective Raymond Chen. He worked with Dmitry for 15 years. Why? He investigated a murder in my neighborhood 2 years ago. A woman named Patricia Liu. They never found her killer. Check the yellow folder. I found the yellow folder. Inside were cold cases. Unsolved crimes. Things Dmitry had been involved in but never caught for. Patricia Liu's file was there. She discovered her husband was laundering money, threatened to go to the police. Dominic had been the one to deliver the package that killed her, made it look like a home invasion. I read the report 3 times. My husband had killed someone, not indirectly, not through association. He'd personally murdered a woman who was just trying to do the right thing. I threw up in the bathroom, stayed there for an hour. When I finally came out, I knew what I had to do. I spent the next week organizing everything, made copies, encrypted files, set up dead man switches. If anything happened to me, the information would automatically go to every major news outlet. FBI, Justice Department, International Criminal Court. Then I started making calls. First to the senator. Senator Williams. My name is Amelia Davidson. I have documents showing you took $2 million from the Latvian government in exchange for voting against sanctions. I'm calling to offer you a choice. Who is this? Someone who can ruin you, or someone who can make this go away. Your decision. What do you want? I want you to introduce legislation, prison reform, accountability for judicial misconduct, protections for whistleblowers, real changes, not performative nonsense. And if I refuse, then tomorrow morning every news outlet in America receives your file, along with the 46 other corrupt officials I'm contacting. You're bluffing. Am I? Check your email. I just sent you page 1. There are 247 more pages where that came from. He checked. I heard him gasp. Who are you? I'm the person who inherited Dmitry Volkov's files, and I'm not interested in blackmail. I'm interested in reform. You have 48 hours to draft the legislation. Send it to me for approval. If it's real, substantive change, I'll keep your file confidential. If it's garbage, I release everything. I hung up. Made the same call to all 47 names. 47 chances to do something right. 32 of them agreed immediately. 11 tried to have me killed. 4 tried to bribe me. The 11 who tried to kill me got their files released that afternoon. The 4 who tried to bribe me got their files released the next day. By the end of the month, I had 32 pieces of legislation being drafted. Real reform, real change. It wouldn't undo the damage, wouldn't bring back the people who'd been hurt, but it was something. Natasha called me 6 weeks after I started. You've made powerful enemies. I know. They're looking for you. Actively. 3 separate contract killers. 2 federal investigations. 1 very angry cartel. I'm being careful. Careful isn't enough. You need to disappear. Completely. I will. After this is done. Done when? When the legislation passes. When it becomes real. When the system actually changes. That could take years. Then I'll disappear after that. You'll be dead before that. Maybe. But at least I'll have done something real. Something that matters. Natasha was quiet for a long moment. Dmitry would be proud of you, for what that's worth. It's not worth much. He created this mess. True. But he also gave you the tools to fix some of it. That counts for something. Does it? I think so. And I think deep down you do too. Otherwise you'd have taken the money and run. She was right. I could have disappeared, become Amelia Davidson for real, lived a quiet life somewhere warm and anonymous. Instead, I was fighting. 3 months later, the first piece of legislation passed. Prison reform, real oversight, actual consequences for abuse. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. I watched the signing on TV from a hotel room in Prague, cried for the first time since Dominic died. Not for him, not for me. For everyone who'd been caught in Dmitry's web, everyone who'd been hurt. The tears didn't fix anything, but they felt necessary. 6 months after that, I was sitting in a cafe in Berlin when someone sat down across from me. An older woman, gray hair, kind eyes. Hello, Ivy. I reached for the gun in my bag. Don't, she said softly. I'm not here to hurt you. Who are you? Someone who knew your father-in-law and your husband. I'm the one who helped his mother disappear all those years ago. Why are you here? Because I have something you need to see. She slid a folder across the table. Inside was a death certificate for Dmitry Volkov and a photo of him, dated 2 weeks ago, alive, sitting at a cafe in Buenos Aires. He faked it, I whispered. Yes, just like he faked his wife's death. He's good at that. But Natasha said she verified the body. Natasha verified a body. Dmitry's dental records. Dmitry's DNA. But think about what he did for a living. Fake identities. False papers. He had decades to prepare. I stared at the photo. It was definitely him. Older. Thinner. But unmistakably the man who'd left me those letters. Why fake his death? To escape. To watch what happened next. To see if his son would survive. If you would survive. It was a test. And you passed. Passed what? His test of worthiness. He wanted to know if you were strong enough, smart enough, if you could use the tools he gave you to actually make a difference, or if you'd just take the money and run. And Dominic failed. Dmitry knew he would. That's why he set everything up the way he did. Dominic was always going to die. The only question was whether you'd die with him. I felt sick. He planned my husband's death. He planned for every possibility, including the one where his son sacrificed himself to save you, which is exactly what happened. Dominic didn't sacrifice himself. He was murdered by people Dimitri knew would be there, at that exact bank, at that exact time. Nothing was left to chance. I stood up. I'm going to kill him. No, you're not. Watch me. The woman grabbed my wrist. Her grip was surprisingly strong. Listen to me. Dimitri left you one more thing, one final gift. If you go to him now, if you confront him, you lose it. But if you walk away, if you let him have his escape, you get everything. Everything what? His whole empire. Every account, every property, every asset, all legally transferred to you. No tricks, no games. Just walk away and it's yours. Why would he do that? Because you proved you're better than him, better than Dominic. You used his tools for good instead of personal gain. That's all he ever wanted. To know that something he created could be used for something other than destruction. I don't want his money. Then use it the way you've been using it. For reform, for change, for justice. You've already done more good with his files than he did in 40 years. Imagine what you could do with $40 million. I looked at the photo again, at Dimitri's face. Peaceful, content. He looked happy. What if I want revenge instead? Then you'll spend the rest of your life hunting a ghost. He'll disappear again, and again. You'll never catch him, and all the good you could have done will be lost to obsession. She released my wrist. The choice is yours. It always has been. That's what he wanted you to understand. You have agency, power, freedom. The only question is what you do with it. I sat back down. How do I know you're telling the truth? You don't. But in 12 hours, $40 million will appear in an account under Amelia Davidson's name. If you choose to accept it, instructions for accessing it will be in your email. If you choose not to, the money disappears and you never hear from any of us again. And Dimitri lives out his life in peace, knowing his legacy isn't entirely made of pain. The woman stood up. Whatever you choose, Ivy, thank you for trying, for caring, for being better than all of us. She walked away, left me sitting there with the photo of a dead man who wasn't dead. I went back to my hotel room, stared at the ceiling, thought about Dominic, about the woman he'd killed, about all the lives destroyed by the men in those folders, thought about the legislation that had passed, the reforms being implemented, the changes starting to happen, thought about what $40 million could do if used correctly. At 11:59 p.m., I opened my email. At midnight, the money appeared. I transferred it immediately into a charitable trust, set up scholarships for victims of financial crimes, legal defense funds for whistleblowers, programs for families torn apart by corruption, every cent. Not for revenge, not for justice, for something better. The next morning, I received one final email. No sender name, just 2 words. Thank you. I deleted it. Burned the passport of Amelia Davidson. Created a new identity. Elena Petrov, aid worker, philanthropist, someone who helped instead of hurt. I never saw Dimitri again. Never tried to find him. Let him have his peace. Because I finally had mine. 5 years later, I was at a school opening in Romania. A school funded by the trust. Named after Patricia Liu, the woman Dominic had killed. Her daughter was there, cutting the ribbon. She didn't know who I was. Didn't know the connection. She just knew someone had cared enough to remember her mother, to honor her. That was enough. After the ceremony, I flew to Vermont, to the town where Dominic's other wife had lived. Carolyn was there, older now, tired, but alive. I watched from a distance as she picked up her daughter from soccer practice, laughed with other parents, lived a normal life. She'd remarried. Her social media showed a kind-looking man who taught high school, who coached Little League, who was everything Dominic had pretended to be. I could have approached her, told her everything, but what would be the point? She'd grieved, moved on, found happiness again. Why ruin that? I left her to her peace, drove to a cemetery outside town, found Dominic's grave, his real one this time, not the empty plot beside his fake dead mother. His headstone was simple. Beloved father, devoted husband. Both statements were lies, but his children had written them, and they deserved to remember him however they needed to. I placed a single flower on the grave, not because I'd forgiven him, because I'd finally let go. That night, I got a call from Natasha. Elena, I need to tell you something. What? Dimitri died. For real this time. 2 days ago. Heart failure. I verified it personally and thoroughly. He's really gone. I felt nothing. Okay. He left you a letter. Final one. Do you want it? No. Are you sure? Yes. Ivy, Elena, he wanted you to know. I don't care what he wanted. He made his choices. I made mine. We're done. I hung up, sat on the hotel bed, waited to feel something. Grief, relief, anger. Nothing came. Just quiet. After a while, I opened my laptop, started planning the next project for the trust. A women's shelter in Chicago, named after Dimitri's wife, the real one. The one who'd suffered 40 years and then had to fake her death to find freedom. She deserved to be remembered too. They all did. All the people caught in Dimitri's web. All the lives he'd touched and twisted and destroyed. I couldn't save them, couldn't undo the damage, but I could make sure they weren't forgotten, that their pain meant something, that something good came from all this darkness. It wasn't redemption. It wasn't forgiveness. It was just refusing to let evil have the final word. And maybe that was enough. Years passed. The trust grew. More schools, more shelters, more programs. I never married again. Never told anyone my real story. Just worked. Helped where I could. Tried to balance the scales even though I knew they'd never be truly balanced. On the 10th anniversary of Dominic's death, I got a package. No return address. Inside was a photo. Dimitri's mother, my former mother-in-law, the woman who'd faked her death decades ago. She was standing on a beach, gray hair wild in the wind, smiling, really smiling. On the back of the photo, 3 words in her handwriting: thank you, forgive him. I burned the photo. Not out of anger, out of completion. Her son was dead. Her husband was dead. She was free, finally. She didn't need my forgiveness. And I didn't need to give it. We were all just survivors, doing our best with the pieces we'd been left. That was enough. Had to be. I continued the work, continued building, continued trying to create light in all the darkness. Some days were harder than others. Some days I'd see a man who looked like Dominic and my chest would tighten. Some days I'd read about corruption and want to scream at the futility of it all. But mostly, I just kept going. Because that's what you do. You survive, you grow, you try to leave the world slightly better than you found it. Even if better is measured in inches instead of miles. Even if justice is incomplete and healing is imperfect. You try. And some days, that trying is enough. 20 years after finding those letters in the cabin, I'm sitting in an office in Geneva, director of the largest anti-corruption trust in Europe. The work continues. The fight continues. Dimitri's legacy of secrets and lies has been transformed into something that actually helps people. Not all of it, not even most of it, but some. And some is better than none. I think about Dominic sometimes, wonder who he could have been if he'd been born to different parents, raised in a different world. Maybe he would have been kind, honest, good. Or maybe the capacity for deception was always there, waiting. I'll never know. All I know is this. We all make choices, every day, about who we want to be, what we want to stand for. Dimitri chose power and control. Dominic chose survival at any cost. I chose to try to do better. Not because I'm noble or special. Because I saw what the alternative looked like and refused to become it. That's my story. My truth. It's not a happy ending. Not really. But it's an honest one. And after everything I've been through, everything I've learned, honesty feels like the only thing worth holding on to. So I hold it, tight, and keep moving forward. One day at a time. That's all any of us can do.